like we really do. If something goes wrong for a guy, we say, oh, biology. If something goes wrong for a woman, we go, oh, psychology. The truth is, both things are at play for men and women alike. And it was outrageous to me that we didn't leave room that biology walks into the bedroom with women too. And what we knew, to your point on primal, is you can look at brain scan imaging of women who really have lost their interest in sex. They once had it and they really are like really attracted to their partners. They just never think about it anymore. It's just not there. That we could see from brain scan imaging, their brains were lighting up totally differently.
Welcome to the Spartan Up podcast with Joe De Sena, founder and CEO of Spartan Race.
We are talking about overcoming obstacles. The same way we teach people to get over obstacles on the course, we will teach you here on the Spartan Up podcast to get over obstacles in your mind.
Cindy Eckert has seen incredible success in the pharmaceutical industry, challenging the boys club with the little pink pill. She and Joe De Sena talk about the crossover between overall health, diet, and good sex, about challenging the status quo, and her advice for female entrepreneurs going against the odds. This episode of Spartan Up is brought to you by DUROLANE, a single injection that may provide up to 6 months relief from osteoarthritis knee pain. Risks can include general knee pain and pain at the injection site. You can see full prescribing information at DUROLANE.com.
Spartans, we are here on the farm in Vermont.
Ooh.
Cindy Eckert. She's like a superstar, super pink star. You know, I didn't want to tell you before the show, I was on Wall Street for 15 years. And I know your whole story. I knew before somebody said, so I was so excited when I heard we were going to do this because I was so impressed with your deal.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, pretty awesome that we ended up talking like this. I feel like feel lucky today.
So do I. And I'm here with you, and you're on the farm. I'm like kind of on a farm, but an urban farm. But I've got chickens and pigs out back. I should have been doing this from out there.
It would have been awesome. Do you make the eggs ever? Do you cook eggs from the
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Like this is the best course in entrepreneurship for kids, right? Yeah. Like the ultimate hustle. Get some chickens for your kids, have them sell the eggs in the neighborhood. It's crazy. I have like pink egg cartons for my neighbors.
That's awesome. and how many kids?
No kids.
Oh,
no kids. I'm teaching the next gen. I recruit the neighborhood kids. I'm like, and their parents. I tell them this is the first lesson in entrepreneurship.
Well, I will happily send you 4 kids. I got 2 boys and 2 girls, and they can come down to your farm for a week. And you could, I've been teaching them. I've been having, I don't know if you heard it. I've been having these like crazy camps up on the farm during COVID, the last 100 days. I've been inviting kids from all over and just, literally just beating them up for 14 days with hiking up and down the mountain and push-ups and rope climbs and ice cold water and everything that a lawyer would tell me I can't do. And the kids are loving, like they hate it when it's happening and they're texting their parents, get me the hell out of here. This guy's a crazy person. And then when it's over, they're like, they feel empowered. Their chest is pumped up, you know? So I'm loving it, but I need I need some pink.
Yeah. Oh, let's do it. I'm coming up. I'll come with you.
Yeah. So tell everybody that doesn't know your backstory quick. Like how?
Yeah. Look. Well, Joe knows me because I got what the media calls female Viagra approved by the FDA, which isn't how it works, but that was a pretty big lift. So my background is I built actually and sold 2 different businesses in pharmaceuticals. The first one had one of the male drugs. So, you know, there were 20.
I didn't know
yes,
that.
I built that from scratch. And, you know, I'm in that business and, you know, really proud, like doing it on my own terms. I had left corporate. I wanted to do a startup mostly to build the kind of culture that I wanted. And I thought, I looked around, I'm like, there's 26 drugs for men and not a single one for women. Ridiculous. So I sold off my profitable business in men, much to the dismay of my board. They actually thought I had lost my mind and took on what no big company had been able to do, which was cross the finish line with the first for women. And it was, as you might imagine, like if you imagine the story of the little blue pill or the little pink pill, everything you're thinking right now, it was worse in terms of the obstacles to get to the finish line, but science ultimately won and so did women.
But what was really amazing to me was you sold it to Valiant, if I remember.
I did.
Right? Which was, for those listening or watching, a big pharmaceutical that was acquiring lots of companies. And then you took it back.
Yeah. So here's the story. There isn't such a thing as $1 billion happy ending. So I sold the company for $1 billion to, one of a few different suitors that came calling when I finally got approval. And like, it was the dream come true. They were going to march it across the globe, make it affordable in ways that my company of 35 people at the time couldn't possibly. And then they bought it with the intention they're going to keep me, the whole team. 3 months, we're out. And they put it on the shelf. They never let women who we'd fought to finally have access to it, couldn't get it. So that began round 2. And I basically went and told them, give it back. They laughed. I sued them because I'd written a really good contract. They weren't meeting their obligations. And in exchange for dropping the lawsuit, they gave it back. But my shareholders and I kept the $1 billion.
That's unbelievable. And tell me if you can't say this or not, but in that contract, were there other payments that were due?
Yes.
Got it. So that's why you had them by the blue.
Yeah. I mean, I got them by the blue. And look, I got smarter. I sold my first business, and so many transactions are going to have some version of an earnout, right? Royalties, milestones, whatever. And that was governed actually. So one of the nuances to it is that my first deal, which was a great deal, was governed by best efforts. And then I realized, well, wait a minute, like your best efforts and my best efforts are different. So when I did the Valiant contract, I wrote really specific performance obligations and they weren't meeting them. And my shareholders were owed downstream payments. So that was the leverage.
That's awesome. And also the world happened to line up for you. Like the fact that they fell into some trouble and so forth.
No doubt.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, listen, their business went sideways in a way like I couldn't have written this screenplay the way that it imploded. And this was the last thing in. And I think every intention was there to launch it, but they had to protect the rest of the house and it got shelved. And so, there was an opportunity to go get it back.
When I read it, by the way, and I followed the whole story from the beginning, just like anybody sitting on a trading desk would.
Yeah.
I just remember thinking, I'm not saying this because I'm meeting you. I just remember thinking, like, why can't that happen to me? That's so unbelievable that she did that. So kudos. That's
Thank you.
That's awesome. So you invest now in women only.
Well, no, that's not true. I invest in guys doing great work for women.
Oh, awesome.
So
I get a lot of women healthy. I mean, we should talk.
Yeah, we should. Let's talk. I mean, look, this is what I invest in. I invest in disruption in women's health and wellness because I think we need it. And, 4% of all research dollars go to women's health. Ridiculous, that stat. So it's really people taking big swings at creating new categories. I'm a little crazy. Like I think, I want to do the big one, the breaking wide open a new category, but so far so good with the track record. We'll see.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So only 12% of America, I just learned the other day, is metabolically healthy. Men and women, 12%. Because we're eating shit food, we're not exercising enough, all that.
Yeah.
And what we do, I don't know how much you know about us, but what we do is we help you put a date on the calendar. I remember seeing Rocky Balboa, right? First Rocky film. And he signed up for a fight, right? He was going to fight Apollo Creed. And then he started training hard. And then Apollo started training hard. And I think most humans are like that. You need something on the calendar. You need a fight on the calendar.
Yep.
Otherwise, you're not going to train. You're not going to do the work.
That's right. You need the thermometer on the wall, the date on the calendar. I totally agree with you that that's true. And for me, like from a wellness, I love what you do. And I think that kind of good sex is the trifecta of wellness. We talk about physical health. You do exceptional work there, mental health, the mindset that you talk about, and sexual health is a component of that. I mean, that's my sort of perfect Venn diagram, has all of those intersecting to kind of be at your best level of performance.
So let's talk about sex a bit. So, and tell me if I'm wrong. So I used to clean swimming pools. You don't even know where I'm going here.
No, I don't.
I cleaned swimming pools from the time I was a preteen till my mid-20s before I went to Wall Street. I sold the business and went to Wall Street. while I was cleaning swimming pools, 700 of them every week. I had a team.
Damn.
I had a lot of time to think. And I was thinking a lot about like a human body and a swimming pool are very similar. We're both water, right? A swimming pool is 20,000 gallons of water. Human body's like 12, 13 gallons of water. We both have pumps and filters. And if you shut the pump off on a pool, the pool turns green. If the filter gets clogged, the pool turns green, right? If you don't clean the nooks and crannies, the pool turns green. And so we have to make sure our heart is pumping. We got to make sure our filters are clean. And so circulation, right? You see where I'm going? Circulation is really, really important. Yeah. And so I think, you tell me, you know the science, I don't, but the healthier you are, like the fitter you are, the more your pump is working and you're like sex is going to be a lot healthier, I would think.
No doubt. I mean, the mechanics are better the healthier you are. Like the healthier your vasculature, the better the mechanics are. There's no doubt about it. Never mind, you know, you talk about this from mindset and like, how do you, you know, use the muscle that is visualizes success, not quitting, you know, all of those and how it pays long-term dividends. I mean, sex similarly releases this like beautiful cocktail of hormones when you have an orgasm and everything else that really actually helps so many of these other systems, right? All of those things that make us sluggish, tired, we don't sleep well, we're, you know, all of that. There's a really interesting like interrelationship in the motivation center of our brain between food and sex.
That makes sense. Food, you know, actually you're going to love this. So I have the kids here on the farm. And everybody that's listening to me is like, oh my God, he's going to say something, we're going to be in trouble. We have the kids here on the farm and they're really hungry, right? Because they are working hard every day. Mm-hmm. And I'm keeping them just a little bit hungry because, you know, at home, they're complaining probably to mom or dad that they're not going to eat this hamburger without ketchup or this or that. And I would argue, you're not hungry enough. Mm-hmm. When you're hungry, you have no issue, right? Mm-hmm. So we limit the food a little bit. Well, one night, we don't let them use their phones. They get their phones every once in a while. One night, we had the phones out and we had food out. They went to the phones. So when we talk about the brain and sex and food, I wonder where electronics fit in, because I was shocked that the kids chose the electronics over food and they were hungry.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really like, again, it's that satisfaction, right? That satiety signal that we're like, we like, it's what we get such, you know, a dopamine sort of effect looking at our phones and all of the, I don't know, you know, what we feel about likes and all of that. It's kind of validation. It actually means more. In fact, truthfully, like the better you're sexually satisfied, the less your appetite. You're actually getting that from a different place.
So that's interesting. So more sex, less food.
Yes.
Or more food, less sex.
Yes.
In reverse, right?
Yes.
So, and then we have to figure phone in there. More phone, less sex, less phone.
Don't take the phone into the bedroom. Everybody, there's one thing you take away, right? Don't take the phone in the bedroom.
And I'm thinking, as I talk to you, I'm thinking, true story, like when my wife comes in the bedroom, I put Netflix down. I'm ready for her.
Yeah, that's right.
Good sign, right? That
That's good. I'm loving that. That's right.
and but they're both primal. They're very primal.
Yes.
Food and sex.
Yes. Listen, that's what started me off on this, because I got to tell you, when I began and having run one of the mail companies, and we can't talk about things other than sex. I was laughing when you said earlier, people are like, oh no, what are they going to say? Welcome to my life. But when I started with this, like we really do, something goes wrong for a guy, we say, oh, biology. If something goes wrong for a woman, we go, oh, psychology. The truth is, both things are at play for men and women alike. And it was outrageous to me that we didn't leave room that biology walks into the bedroom with women too. And what we knew, to your point on primal, is you can look at brain scan imaging of women who really have lost their interest in sex. They once had it and they really are like really attracted to their partners. They just never think about it anymore. It's just not there. That we could see from brain scan imaging, their brains were lighting up totally differently. We basically shut down, I say we close all the tabs to have sex. We quiet the information processing center of the brain, and like really type A women weren't able to do that. And this drug actually helped them. And it was crazy to me that we were willing to just accept the narrative and not push through to address it.
What percentage of not just women, but I'd be curious if you know, what percentage of women have all the tabs closed?
Yep.
And then are there men that experience that same thing?
Totally.
We'll be right back to this interview, but first a message from today's sponsor, DUROLANE. You know that knee pain can really slow you down. Sometimes that knee pain is due to osteoarthritis, a disease that affects some 14 million Americans. Learn about osteoarthritis knee pain and how to alleviate it at oakneepainrelief.com. You'll find information there about non-surgical, non-opioid treatments for osteoarthritis knee pain that may help delay the need for knee surgery. One treatment you'll find there is DUROLANE, a single injection that may provide up to 6 months of relief from osteoarthritis knee pain. It's indicated for the treatment of mild to moderate osteoarthritis knee pain when conservative treatments have not worked. Risks can include general knee pain and pain at the injection site. Full prescribing information is at DUROLANE.com. Spartans say no to limits. You can learn more at oakneepainrelief.com. That's oakneepainrelief.com. All right, back to the interview.
What percentage of not just women, but I'd be curious if you know, what percentage of women have all the tabs closed?
Yep.
And then are there men that experience that same thing?
Totally. So the phenomenon is called HSDD, hypoactive sexual desire disorder. It's been in the medical literature since the 70s. Men and women alike have it. Incidence is way higher in women. Typically in men, when that happens, when there's a lack of interest, we often look at testosterone levels. It's much more hormonally driven. That said, there are many men with their levels are fine, but something is still off. They can have HSDD. Women, it's huge. So if I do a survey, it's about a third of women talk about having a lack of libido. If you go down to, do they have this and they're really profoundly distressed by it? Like, would they need treatment for it? It's about 10%. I think it's somewhere in between those two in terms of how many report it.
And the pill changes that.
It works on that balance that we need, those key chemicals in the brain that allow us to quiet in order to respond to sexual cues.
That's amazing. And since you took it back from Valiant,
Yeah.
what do they call themselves now? They changed their name.
They're Bausch now.
Bausch, yep.
Reputational management.
Yes. Did they sell any of them, or they've had it on the shelf and then you took over and?
Yeah, when I got it, so I used to mystery shop it. You know, I'd sold it to Valiant. I was gone and I wanted it. And I would go to Target or, Walgreens, and I couldn't get it. Less than 10% of pharmacies in the US even had it, and they were doing no marketing. And, it's a first of its kind, a first in category. It obviously needs brand awareness. So when I got it back, I launched it. Now women can literally go online and through telemedicine. It doesn't require a physical exam. So I can do something like this or a phone call and speak to a doctor licensed in my state, and it can ship to the doorstep. And so women go on it every day now. It's been, I got to tell you, this year, Joe, in February, my first ad ran on Howard Stern, and I sat in my car and I cried like a baby. And I did because it took me 10 years to get to that moment.
That's unbelievable. That's awesome. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
I know 15 years with Spartan, I didn't take a paycheck.
Yeah.
And so I get it. And a lot of people don't understand what's required to build a business. It's like the finish line just keeps moving.
Of course. Oh, right. Yeah. Mine was a constant moving of the goalpost at the hands of the government. So, you fight the government for women's sexual pleasure.
That's tough. That's
the road less traveled.
You might not know this, but in ancient Sparta, the women would say, Spartan men only exist because Spartan women gave birth to them.
Yeah.
Which, right? So the other thing I wanted to tell you is during these camps with the kids, we've only had a few girls. Typically the age range is from 11, let's say, to 16. And only a few girls have come. It makes sense, right? The parents feel weird about sending the girl. The girls have outperformed the boys hands down. They are tougher, stronger, unbelievable.
That's awesome. I love hearing that.
Talk about crying, listening to Howard Stern. You get chills seeing an 11-year-old girl that is whipping the boys into shape.
Look, the stats are there. Why do women only get 3%? 3% of all venture funding. Give me a break. Like half the population has 3% of the good ideas. We know by the numbers, like they're going to outperform in terms of outcomes. It's why, look what I do, my work at the Pink Ceiling and in the Pink Incubator is good business too. I'm looking at these, a piece of the population that's really being overlooked in terms of betting on them. And it's crazy because that drive is there.
When you say that, let's just pick a number. Let's say 100,000 pitches are made.
Yeah.
Are 50,000 of them women? No.
Yeah. If you level it out, like with the female founder, it's crazy. And if you even look at like language studies, the difference of questions that we'll ask a female founder versus male, and I won't get on my soapbox. I don't think that, listen, I don't feel like, and I never felt like this. I was laughed out of a lot of rooms on Sand Hill Road when I showed up in pink to pitch, you know, the female Viagra. I don't think there was intention behind that of like, I'm not going to support her. It's that the idea was presenting the other side of the table didn't relate to. And I think that, you know, we all need to leave room to help somebody else sort of see it from our perspective. And I talked to female founders about this today. Like, don't come back and bitch to me that, you know, they turned you down. Did you ask like, hey, I'm coming with this. Will you have somebody in the room who might use this product? Will you have somebody, and give room for people to, you know, have understanding and everything else. There are a lot of guys that laughed at me and didn't support me who today go in on deals with me. That's the cool part of change.
That's awesome. And what percentage of the women that take the pink pill?
Yeah.
We call it the pink pill. Is that cool?
It is called the pink pill. Yeah.
That take the pink pill that say it changed everything. It works.
Well, you know, I can never overstate it for everybody. So I'm really cautious because like no drug is a panacea. They have risks, they have benefits, and it's decision with your doctor. But I mean, the stories that I hear are what kept me going through the darkest moments. And, you know, I would get emails every day and be grateful that women were sharing like their most private struggles. I got off of a stage in San Francisco last year and a woman like beelined for it. Like she was coming for me. And she said, hey, I got to tell you my story really quick. And she said, my marriage was falling apart. She said, sex had left the bedroom and then everything else had crumbled. Like, and I will say, like, it's not working in the bedroom. It falls apart across the breakfast table too over time. And she said, we were literally with divorce lawyers and I heard you on a podcast. And she said, and I had already made up my own script. Like, oh, he's a pain in the ass. He never empties the dishwasher. He's, you know, like we had gotten all the resentment had crept in. And she said, and I heard you and I thought, oh my God, what if this is it? And she went to her doctor. She had this condition. She got on the drug and she said, can I take a picture with you to show my husband? Because we stayed together. And I was like, moved beyond belief. So I'm grateful that I hear those stories. It doesn't mean it works for everybody. I always caveat that.
Well, we should do a 1-2 punch because I get those stories too from Spartan, which is probably goes back to the swimming pool, right? We're moving blood. We're getting people healthy. Yeah. Maybe I'm opening up a few tabs. And then you throw in the pink pill and we got everything working.
Yeah.
But we'd have to get doctors' prescriptions, but like he or she doctor could prescribe. You got to do Spartan Race, take the pink pill. And by the way, we probably put divorce lawyers out of business.
Totally. It's so true. I have a lot of women who say that to me. They're like, I'll pay cash for it. It's covered by insurance, but I'll pay cash for it because it's a lot cheaper than the divorce attorneys, for sure.
That's awesome.
It's such a huge part, right, of our relationships, like our physical, mental, sexual well-being. Like that's it. It's
no doubt about it. When I get mad, right, we all get mad at our spouses about something.
Of course.
And then you resolve it in the bedroom and then everything's fine.
Nothing like makeup sex.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I agree. Is it expensive?
No, it's $20 a month with insurance coverage. And I have to tell you, like for 20 years, guys have had their Viagra Cialis, name it, covered. And so when I went in, I said, man, parity pricing, parity coverage. And so about 70% of women can get it for $20. If they can't, if their insurance doesn't cover it yet, we never have them pay more than $99 a month.
That's awesome. And I'm sorry I'm asking all these questions. I'm just fascinated.
Yeah.
Is that every day you have to take it, or how do
it's a brain chemistry drug. So, you know, you're resetting so that you're there when like he smacks you on the bum or whatever it may be. I have a physician that like, talks about it where the starting point is they sort of smack you on the butt and you're like, ugh. And then the next, couple weeks in, they smack you on the butt and you're like, And the third time you're smacking him on the butt. And like, that's really the progression, I think, of this reawakening. As women describe it, it drives me crazy if the media calls it female Viagra. And here's why. We're not on demand when it comes to sex. It's not really how it works. And so it's much more about getting back to this normal. And in fact, the first thing women will tell me if they're responding is they say like, oh my God, I'm fantasizing. Like, I can't remember the last time I was fantasizing in the middle of the day about sex.
That's awesome. I can't believe we're having this conversation.
I know. This is not what you expected.
Let's go back to the chickens, the eggs, and the pigs. I'm kidding. So what do you got on tap as far as your investments go? You're making some investments in some cool companies. What do you got going?
Yeah. So first flushable pregnancy test. It's so cool. I mean, this founder is like 4'0" and like she's the girl you described that come to your camps. Such a competitor, and it's her first diagnostic. She'll do it in many other diagnostics. And when you think about the fact that like 80% of a test today is plastic, but it doesn't need to be, there's not only an environmental piece there, but most women test at work and they actually don't want to leave it in the waste paper basket. So it's such a cool invention.
That's really cool.
A tech that if you were to dip your finger in a drink, touch a disc on the back of your phone or on a keychain, 30 seconds, it would tell you if there was a date rape drug in that drink.
Wow.
So,
I'm seeing a theme here. I like it.
Yeah, it's all, look, everything I do is about power in women's hands. It really is. And that's so important to me. These are the products that I want to see in this world. And now I have the luxury of getting to sit on the other side of the table and invest in them.
We're going to make, if you're cool with it, once the world comes back and I have races everywhere again, I'll do, when I put on a race, 200 or 300 people leave, let's say every 20, 30 minutes because there's 10,000 people there and I can't let everybody go at once. And so we'll do some pink waves if you want. And as I'm talking to you and you're telling me all this, I'm visualizing a giant public company you're going to own someday with all these pink things.
I love it. That's so great. And the pink is a little irreverent. I know, I like pink. You can't find a childhood picture of me and I'm not in pink. But when I was going down this path, like people would say, oh, it's cute. Like the little pink pill. And I realized that, we have stereotypes. We have impressions. Pink is weak. Femininity is weak. I reject that. I think it's been one of my strengths actually in leading this. And so I thought, okay, you have two choices. You're going to move away from it because you're going to, be like the self-doubt or frustration, or you're just going to move right toward it. So I show up in pink every day and I used to wave at the FDA from the audience in my hot pink because that's what we needed to talk about. No,
but it's great because you branded yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I knew right away. I got the pink lady.
Yeah, that's right.
No, it's smart. I'm the Spartan guy. And so, so if you had three things to tell a female entrepreneur.
Oh yeah.
You've listened to a lot of pitches. Three things, or an aspiring entrepreneur. She works somewhere.
Yeah.
What are three things to get from 0 to 100?
Yep. So 3 things. One is really simple. Success does not come from having all of the answers. It comes from having the courage. When I started, I didn't know how to build a company from scratch, but I basically knew that I was capable of asking and figuring it out. That's one, because I think it's what holds people at the starting line, right? Is they think they need to already have all of the answers. I think 2 is, everything in my mind, you have to have an ownership mindset. You got to own it all in, all the way. The day before I went to the FDA for their final, we had a big public meeting where they were going to vote. I threw a victory party the night before. They held my fate. I may or may not have won, but what I knew is I had done every single thing within my control to win it that day. So that's a piece of it, is that real ownership.
Own it when it works and when it doesn't. Own it. Own everything.
Own it. Own the failures as much as you own the successes, 100%, but own it all the way through. And actually, for the people who come beside you, give them a piece of that ownership. That's a philosophy I have in terms of, you talk all the time about teams. Like, how is a team the best together, the most cohesive and competitive? It's that they actually all have skin in the game toward the same outcome. That's such an important piece. And what's my last piece? I guess it is about confidence. We talk about, with women founders in particular, like people say to me, oh, Cindy, you're so confident. You're so confident. Are you kidding? When I was in those rooms the first time, raising money, presenting, like my palms were sweating. I was nervous. It wasn't about confidence. It was about competence. I knew my shit, and I would show up and kill them with competence. And I think that's the reframe of it. It's not about like the swagger and the bold attitude and everything first. It's actually about knowing at your core that you're capable of doing it.
I love those 3 things. All right, let's do it just because I'm having fun, if that's okay.
Yeah.
3 things besides the pill. You probably learned a lot.
Yeah.
Back to sex for a second, that you would recommend for men or women.
Yeah.
That are having some issues.
Yeah.
Obviously, they got the pill for both men and women. But besides that.
Yeah. Okay. You're having problems in the bedroom.
No
Okay. So one is you deserve to talk to somebody about it because there are options to address it that are medical. 2 is you got to talk to your partner about it. You got to. Like, if we're not talking to the person that we're supposed to be the most connected to, it's extraordinary how disconnected you feel from every single element of your life. And I guess the third part is, what is my third tip? My third tip is, if you're not being asked by a healthcare professional, bring it up. That's
one thing you didn't hit on, which I don't know how you feel, is diet and exercise.
Oh, well, 100%. That's where you come in. You're going to cover that piece. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that is a big piece of this. I mean, that's an overall part of our well-being. Sex is complicated. Women are not uniquely complicated. Actually, men and women are complicated when it comes to sex, because a lot of things come into the bedroom with us. And that's a piece of it, right? Like how you feel about your own body image and everything else, which is a huge factor of diet and exercise.
All right, so we nailed how to start a company and make $1 billion. We got sex covered. How about happiness? Because like somebody looking from the outside with you got to be the happiest person alive. You got pigs, you got chickens, dollars, businesses. You're like,
yeah.
Do I need $1 billion to be happy?
No way. You got to be doing what you love, and you got to be competing against your own personal best every day. And I will say, all of that is a conscious choice. There's, when I built my business, my first company, I told you, like, the most important thing to me was really like, can I build a culture? Can I take people who are extraordinary achievers in environments in which they're not inspired, and put them together? And it was about 6 choices you had to make to come work for me. And I really do believe in choice. And the last choice there is to be appreciative, or call it gratitude, right? That's happiness. If you can wake up in the day and make a deliberate decision that you are going to be grateful for those things that you have, and you are going to work your ass off for those things that you want, I think you're a pretty happy person.
What a great sentence. We got to remember that sentence. So the samurai, the ancient samurai, they would close their eyes at night before they go to bed.
Yeah.
They would burn all their possessions and their family in their mind. And when they woke up in the morning and they saw their family and they saw their possessions, they had gratitude towards everything because it was gone last night.
Yeah.
So gratitude is so important. Seneca, one of the great ancient philosophers, was very, very wealthy. He was probably on your level back then. And he would make a conscious effort once a week, once a month, to go sleep outside on the street to appreciate all those things he had. So do you think you're at a level well beyond me? And I ask this question sincerely. Do you think you need to strip some stuff away every once in a while to kind of look around and pinch yourself and say, this is fucking awesome?
No doubt. And I'll tell you what, I had a guy that works with me managing money, and he came in to visit me like last year, and he was like, well, you live in the same house and you drive the same car. And then he glanced over at me. He's like, and I'm pretty sure you were wearing that the last time I saw you. So we're good here. But I think part of that is, when I woke up the day after I sold my business for $1 billion, my bank account had changed, but I hadn't. And I got up the next day and I went to work again, because that's what I really love to do. And it doesn't mean you don't get to splurge on yourself and everything else, But I think if you ever lose touch with that, the happiness actually evaporates.
And family and friends, did they change? Was it like winning the lottery?
A little bit. Honestly, like I have wonderful people who've been with me for years and built company after company, and they're kind of my de facto family because I don't have kids. But yeah, people came at you a little bit different. It's interesting when, you know, the world comes at you with their hands up, and there's a very different thing to come at people with your hand down.
Oh man, we got another one. We got to remember that one.
Yeah, but it's been crazy. I will tell you, I did build my dream house, which is where my pigs and stuff are. And I moved into it during this pandemic. And I came in and the builder was standing there and he was like happy and he's like ready to hand me the keys. And I said, 1 second. And I like walked past him into my pantry and I cried. And I cried because I thought, holy shit, like you did this. But you do need to have those moments where you like it takes your breath away. I'm like a kid from upstate New York, Rochester, New York, blue collar town. And like, I've exceeded what I would have imagined, but I didn't do it for the money.
Kodak.
Everybody in my neighborhood, you worked for Kodak in the factory.
I am. Half of my childhood was in Ithaca, New York.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Rochester, well. Matter of fact, I gotta go next week. I gotta head up there. Where'd you go to school?
I went to school outside of DC, Marymount. I mean, I'm in sex, you knew, like Irish Catholic, right?
That's right. This is awesome. So I could talk to you for 9 months straight. We could just keep talking. But let's get together at some point. I'm going to send you my kids. I'll FedEx them to you. And
I'm going to have them hustling. They're going to be selling eggs. You just wait.
And don't put them in the nice house. Keep them in the other house.
I won't. That's right. I always say, like, I have a sign in my office that says, cowgirls scrape shit from your boots before entering. And I think that's a little bit of the pigs for me. Like, it's good to get out and have to like shovel some shit every day.
Oh, it's good. Basically like the ancient philosophers. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm super pumped that we met. I can't believe somebody I read about in the Wall Street Journal ended up in my screen here. This is great.
I love what you do, Joe. You're inspirational. I love following you. And thank you so much for having me on.
You're going to see me in pink next. I'm with you.
This episode of Spartan Up is brought to you by DUROLANE, a single injection that may provide up to 6 months relief from osteoarthritis knee pain. Risks can include general knee pain and pain at the injection site. You can see full prescribing information at DUROLANE.com.